Alright, hello guys, and welcome back to the Microsoft Excel course here at Learn.io. Um, let's jump right in. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about basic operations, copying, pasting. There's a special way to copy information in Excel that's quite useful. And then the quick sum feature. But before that, let's remember how to open documents. So last time we learned how to save them, and so if you remember last time, our document, it was called example. We save as to our desktop, so you know this is the right document. Whenever you open Excel, it'll show all of your recent documents. I just made a bunch of test ones just to show this off. You can either access your document from here, or you could go to the Open tab all the way on the left, and then try to find it down here. So let's open up example from last time. As you can see, it's still got everything same. Let's clear this out a little bit. If you highlight everything and just click the delete button, it will delete all the information in it. And so let's talk about copying and pasting. Let's start by writing a bunch of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, if I want to copy the one, a lot of you probably already know this on a PC, Control C, on Mac, Command C. You move to a different field, Control V, on a Mac, Command V. That's just how you copy paste information. That's pretty standard stuff. If you click Control X or Command X, it'll cut, which basically means that when you paste it, it'll remove it from its original cell. But yeah, that's pretty simple stuff. So let's say I wanted to fill this whole row with just ones. You see there's this little, I don't really like that border. Okay, let's just Command X, Command V. Okay. So you see there's this little box right above my plus cursor. So if I hover right over that, my cursor changes to a small plus. If I click on it and then drag, you'll see there's a 1 underneath this bold box that's stretching. What that basically means is it's just going to copy the 1 into all of those boxes. Pretty useful if you want to fill in a lot of information at once. But the program also knows how to spot patterns. So if I select just by holding all the way down to 9, and then I click this box and move down, it'll actually recognize the pattern since it's just going up by 1 every time, and it'll copy the pattern into the next few boxes, which is extremely useful if you have, for example, you're numbering participants in a race or something so that you can track their times, and you don't want to type individually 1 through 100. You can just type the first 5 and then drag it all the way down to 100. It'll number it for you. So those are some extremely useful features. I believe it also does the same with dates. So if you have Jan, Feb, March, it should be able to take this. Okay, well, it only works for short form, so I guess March it didn't really recognize. But as you can see, it recognizes all of them and it will write them. I could then continue, just take these 3 and go down to December, why not? Oh, I guess it doesn't work perfectly. What happened there? Oh yeah, so it took only those 3 months, and since we only had those 3 months, it just assumed that we wanted to continue going in 3. Since one was full and the others weren't. It gets confused sometimes. It's not perfect, but it is useful if you want to try and save yourself a little bit of time. So now that we understand a little bit about copy, pasting, and just, I guess, painting over numbers, let's talk about the real purpose of Excel to conduct calculations, to do calculations. So let's say I have a bunch of numbers, all right? I have 1, 2, I have 4, I have 15, I have 1,000, I have 5, whatever this number is, right? And I don't really feel like doing the mental math of adding all of these together. Well, don't worry. Excel can do that for you. You just highlight all the numbers that you want to add, go over here to AutoSum, it'll just add them up for you. The AutoSum button actually has other features as well. So if you see there's a little arrow right next to it. If you click that, you'll see you can sum, which is what we just did, average, count, max, or min. And there's a more function tab, but we might get into that later, not today. So if you do average, it'll find the mean of all the numbers. Mean, if you don't know, is the mathematical average, meaning all of the numbers added together divided by how many numbers there are. There's actually 2 or 3 other ways to find the average of a data set when you get into, I believe, 7th or 8th grade math. But Excel just finds the mathematical average. Let's say you wanted to know how many numbers you have. Well, if you have all of the numbers, just one per row, it's easy enough to do. But let's say you start on row 9 and you have 3, and then 4 rows down you have 5, or 3 rows down. I can't count apparently. And then 2 rows down you have a 3, and then you have like an 8. And let's say you have a whole bunch of numbers like that, and you don't really want to go and count each number individually. Just highlight all the numbers, go to count numbers. Here, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. This also works for finding the minimum and maximum of the numbers. So if I click on max, find the maximum. This also works if you have words in between. So let's say I have the word hello just randomly in the middle of all these numbers. All of the functions should still work just as expected. Max, still 8. Let's include the 8 this time. Minimum, still 3. If I count how many there are now, there's 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6, it's correct. And you'll notice up here they don't actually have the numbers. These equations are what we call formulas. In the next lesson we'll be learning how to make our own formulas, so don't worry too much about those for now. Just know that they're pretty useful little things that we can do in Excel, and that's honestly, when you're getting into higher level Excel, that's one of the most useful skills you can have. So if you can't, actually let me get my numbers back. If you can always access all of these AutoSum features over here, but you can also go to, I believe it was formulas, and there's another AutoSum feature right here. It's a bit bigger, it's a bit easier to read. It has all the exact same functionality that the other one has, so in case you get lost, you can either go to formulas, AutoSum, or home. All the way on the right, there's a very small AutoSum. So hopefully that helps. Just gonna add one last thing. If you want to insert rows in the middle, you can go here. You can click insert. You can decide to insert cells, rows, columns. So let's say I want to add a row. Boom. Row added right above the one that I was on before. Insert column, column right before. So it's pretty useful in case you have a lot of information that you decide that you want to move around, but you don't feel like dragging, copying, and pasting all of the information because it might, mess up some other parts of your spreadsheet. It's good to be able to insert rows. And I think that's all for today. I'll see you next time.